What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Fucking Everything podcast. It's been about 6 months since I took a break. I was hoping to come back sooner, but there was too much going on, and I took a break for my mental health and to kind of re align things in my life and kind of get kind of settled back in again. And Being May and Mental Health Awareness Month, I figured it was a good time, and I feel like I'm in a great place to come back. And so here we are. I want to dive in on this episode all about my me coming back, and not my comeback, but me coming back into the podcast and kind of getting through all of the stuff that I got through last year. Um, I Last year was a long year. It was a very long year. Work was super busy. I worked with a handful of clients. Um, Real quick, if you're new to the podcast, or if eventually you listen to this down the road when we grow more, I'm a celebrity bodyguard. I've been doing this for over 20 years, protecting some of the biggest names in Hollywood, some of the best athletes in the world, and some of the biggest rock stars. And I've been doing it for long enough that I've gotten to a point where I was wrapping up my career, and it's been something I've been thinking about for a couple years and trying to get to a place where I can kind of wrap up and retire from this piece of my life. I love it. I love everything about it. It's just it's very demanding, and I have two kids that I have always struggled in the balance and trying to be the best parent I can be while being the best employee I can be, or the best protector I can be to clients, as well as everything else in between. So it's always been a struggling act. It's always been a balance of trying to be the best parent and have a career. So I made the final decision last year, beginning of last year, to finally pull the plug and retire. And I announced it to my clients, and for me, it was meant to be like a happy moment, and it was something I was super excited about, and I did it. And when I did it, it's like I just got kicked in the gut. What proceeded from there was some of the darkest months of my life. In the sense that it was just so crazy to me because again, I thought it was going to be something exciting, and it was, and it's definitely exciting to kind of recap an incredible career and look forward to what's next. But it was something that I didn't expect it to hit so hard. It was something that um, telling my clients that I was going to be retiring and moving on, um, to go and have each one of those meetings with them and kind of give them that news was hard. It was tough. These are people that I love and I care about, and I've devoted so much time and energy and effort over several decades at this point. But some of these clients I've had for close to 5 years consistently. There's one that I've been with since 2018. There's one I've been with since 2021. There's one I've been with since 2022, and all consistently. All for that long up until now. Doing stuff throughout the year for them. And so, these are people I care about. I love. It's tough, and so I didn't look at that aspect of the retirement piece. I didn't look at that aspect of how I was going to feel um announcing that, and how much of a kind of a rut. Like that night I went back to my apartment and I was just like in this rut, and I'm just like, fuck, man, like, is this the right move? And ultimately, like, it really wasn't fully for me, right? Like, I envisioned doing this forever. I imagined being, in the security world forever, doing this until I just couldn't physically do it anymore. But I have kids, and that's a priority for me. And it's always been a struggle. It's been something I've struggled with since day one. And it's something that was always a balancing act. I kid you not, at any time I was home, like, things would be okay, things would be great, things were fine, like um, on the negative side of things. And what my point is with that is, like, I would leave and then something would pop up. There'd be an issue here, there'd be an issue here, there'd be this medical issue or this or that, and it's just like, holy shit, like, I just, it was so stressful, trying to balance being a parent and being, the best person I could be for my career. Anyways, dragging this on. my point is, it led to several months of just deep depression and just not wanting to go to work and not being happy and not being any of those things. And it's just because I was just eating myself, like I was just eating away at myself because I was just so beat up by the idea of, partly letting these people down, and just partly, feeling like I was letting these people down. I was doing everything in my power to never let anyone down. And I've devoted my, you know, everything I've had to to each individual client, and to make sure they always had the best care possible on every front. So it wasn't like I was letting them down, but to me, in my own battle, in my own mental health, I was letting them down. And, so there was this piece of me letting them down. There was this piece of me letting my kids down. And then there was just all this, just fight in my mind of, what am I doing? What's the right move? Whatever. So, there's that, and I'm still working, and I'm still trying to get through the year because I wanted to give everyone enough notice, almost basically a year, for me to retire. I was going to retire at the end of the year, maybe, January, February, March of 26, to try and give everyone enough time to find a new security team, to find a new security person to replace me, to do whatever and train and do whatever we needed to do to replace me for each of my clients. And so, um, so I went back to work every day, or certain days or certain trips with certain clients, depending on who it was. And it was tough. It was tough. I beat myself up every day. And, anyways, fast forward, and then, I'm trying to hold a relationship, and then I'm trying to be a dad at the same time. And there's struggles there. Like, my son, graduated from high school. My son went to college, and that was a massive piece. Right after this, I announced my retirement, and then my son graduated from high school. So there's all those emotions, and that was mind-boggling, crazy. This little baby that I raised from nothing into this grown ass man that's graduated high school, and just that piece in itself. Stop right there. Don't go beyond that. That piece in itself was enough, and it was crazy, and it was exciting, and it was sad, and it was emotional and fun. And I was just so proud of him, and everything he's done. And then, even before that, he had an accident where um he basically, like, almost cut his neck open with a barbed wire fence, and fell back and hit his head and went, unconscious. And he was hiking, of course, so it was more than what he wasn't just on a sidewalk and just got in a car and went to the hospital. He had to be hiked out of the hike, several miles, thrown in a car, and taken to the emergency room. Of course, I was not in town. And so my point to this is, like, so we've been dealing with that, and that's still an ongoing thing. We're dealing with that for a long time. Just the effects of all of that, and the concussion protocols, and all the medical scans, and just it's been ongoing. And it's just, it's something I wish I could just take all of that and put it in me, like, give it to me, take it out of him, let him be healthy and be normal, and live his life. Give it to me. Whatever happens, happens. Like, that's what any parent wants, right? They want the best for their kids. They don't want their kids to suffer or be in any sort of pain. Even when they're sick and they have a cough, you want that as well. They're little kids. So it was tough to see him, and it's tough to see his mental health kind of decline, and just battle and fight, not being normal, and not being able to get up every day and go to the gym every single day like he was, or play basketball every day like he was, or run around, or laugh, or have fun. Like, he just, his, cognitive functions and everything just kind of declined, and it was just in such a state that was like, wow, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what do we do? And so, it's been ongoing. It was another ongoing thing that added to the pile of stuff that was inside, and, what I was trying to process. And then he, college came around. It was time to pack up and start getting prepped for college. And I see my house go from this home to a room start to be full of boxes, and pictures come off of walls, and this item come off of this, because it was all stuff he wanted to take with him to college. And it just started to get surreal, and then fast forward, and I was, one of my clients that I love, and I was, super close with, and spent a lot of years together, let me go. And that was something I was unexpected, and I didn't know how to handle that. And then, fast forward from that, then we ended up packing up and going to college, and that was a whole different perspective, because then I had to shift going from being sad and in my own mind and about myself and what the fuck, what did I do wrong, and what did, like, just trying to figure things out, right? And like then I got to be happy and sad and emotional and all these things because my son's going to college, and um, I think the great part about that, in the sense of um, trying to be okay with everything and trying to be in the moment for my son and trying to make it a memorable moment, was I got to drive him out to college. So we packed up the SUV and we drove the 13 hours out to college, and it was really cool. We got to laugh a lot. We got to tell a lot of jokes, share a lot of memories. Have some good Mexican food on the drive down. It was really good, and it really, those 13 hours kind of pushed everything out of my mind. It was just it was just blank. I didn't think of anything but in that moment, which was incredible, and I needed it because there was so much going on. Um, so then we do the thing. We get him to college. We move him in. It's a whole thing. It's exciting. It's emotional. It's scary. It's like, holy shit, I'm leaving my baby boy in this totally different state all by himself. And I know I've raised him right. I know his mom and I have raised him right and have raised him well enough to know uh, how to survive in this crazy fucking world. And really, for me, it's like, I'm not worried about my kids. I know we raised them right. Their mom and I did a great job. I know we did. I'm not questioning that by any means. What I am scared of is the world that they're in, the world they have to live in, and the crazy fucking shit that goes on every day in our world. That's scary for any of us. And he's far enough away where I can't just get in a car and go get him and go react and go help and do whatever. So it's scary for me. So, that happened. It was all great. Emotions were kind of low. It was just, I was in the moment, and we got to college. We moved him in. It was a whole thing. Stayed an extra day or two, and then got in the rental car to drive back to the airport to fly home, and lost it. I mean, I bawled my eyes out the entire drive to the airport, and just didn't know how to handle it. Didn't That's when everything poured in on what exactly was happening in that moment with him, and him going to college. And then I'm home, and fast forward, and then I was in this relationship for quite some time that took a turn, and I know she was struggling with her mental health, and I know she was kind of doing her thing. We lived in different places, so that was tough. Um, and it all of a sudden ended one day, and there was no closure. There still hasn't any closure, and I'm not really sure what happened. But it was someone I loved dearly and would have married, and we talked about these things, and again, I don't know, so I won't speculate, but just another piece to add to the year that I had. And so, then you get the holidays. At that point, we were coming up on the holidays. I totally skipped over my son's birthday. My son turned 18 in the midst of that. But then we have, we're starting to get into the holidays. And I'm still transitioning out of the work I'm in now. I started an apparel company, and I was in the midst of building that out by myself and trying to grow that, and figure out what that looked like. I also invest in other companies, so I had just my normal obligations, right? So all these 10 or 15 things combined, just my mental health was just fucked. It was wrecked. And I got to the holidays, and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. Like, I'm building this entire apparel company going 100 miles an hour, not really sleeping, because I'm awake all day in my normal life, and then I'm awake beyond that up until 3, 4, 5 a.m. trying to work with our factories that are overseas and build out those relationships and build out the line and build out all the, just everything. And then I'm staying up all night building out our website, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then I'm being pulled in this direction, and then I have obligations with this client or that client. I'm traveling here, I'm traveling there. I mean, it's just, and let's not forget that I'm still a dad. So every other week I would have my daughter. So I would, I'd have her, and try and be present in those weeks for her. So, you know, and mind you, she's a teenager and wants nothing to do with her parents, but you know, you try and get the time that you can get, you know, whether it's an hour or two here watching a movie, or you get to catch a meal, or you get to, listen to her and whatever she's got going on in the moment for an hour or two, which is great and I love. But all of this shit combined, I was like, fuck. And when I started this podcast, it was a lot. It was a full production, and there was multiple cameras, and it was a whole fucking thing. And so it required all of these different things, and it required so much effort and other people to be involved in order to make this thing. So it was, I could sit here and film an episode, but then it would just be like, I would have to download all this footage, not only audio, but then which was its own piece, and it's this whole other thing, and they better have all the video content, and then I'd have to send all that, and then it would be edits, and it's just a whole thing. So um, that was probably the biggest reason why I stopped, was just the fact that it took so much effort to get an episode from start to finish, on top of my mental health and struggling there. But I've since dialed back. I do this on my own. It's a one man show, like everything else, like my whole life. I film it directly from my iPhone. There's no smoky mirrors, nothing crazy here. And it's all linked up to my phone. Once it's done, I edit it, put it all together. Maybe I have an editor help a little bit here or there sometimes, but it's more simplified. Things are simplified. I'm in a far better place in my life. I've kind of got through the year. I've moved on and just put closure to the shit that I didn't have closure to. I'm thankful to have gone through last year. A lot of stuff. There's incredible memories from my son graduating high school to go into college and turning 18, and wrapping up with some incredible clients, that I've worked with, and trying to work through the relationships and love and what that looks like and what that holds, in the future. And but it was a crazy fucking year, I'll say that. And listen, I don't talk about my life. I never do. I never have, until I put this podcast together. And to me, I was talking to a friend the other day, and they came to me and they're like, "Hey, thank you for sharing this." I had whatever it is. I don't know. I attract people that want to just share and just feel comfortable enough to share and feel comfortable enough for me to either listen and not really give input, or to give a little bit of input, or to give a lot of input. And I've always been good with that, and people have come to me with that, and I've been able to give it back. And anyway, so I had this friend come to me, and she's like, "Listen, like thank you for sharing." Like, as part of what she shared with me that she was going through, I had reciprocated and said, "Well, here's I also went through something similar to this, and here's my story, and here's how I went through it, and here's how, the good I saw, here's the bad I saw, here's what I did wrong, here's what I did right, here's what I would change, here's how I could help you with this." Right. So my point is in that moment, she then came back and said, like, that was incredibly helpful. Like, this was massive. And I moved on from that conversation, and a few days later, it kind of just, it clicked. It was like, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm not doing this to hear myself talk. I'm not doing this to share my laundry, if you will. I'm doing this so that if someone else listening to this can relate and can take something away from something I say, or can feel better about themselves in the moment, can better their mental health, or better their state of mind, even bring people back from being on the ledge. I'm doing this in order for people to really know that no matter how life looks on social media, on the surface, people are always going through shit, and it's twofold for me. People are always going through shit, so don't look at someone else's life. Don't look at someone else's social media account. Don't look at someone else's surface and go, "My life sucks. Look how great theirs is." Theirs isn't fucking great by any means. There are holes. There are things. Now, are they having a great life in a lot of instances? Sure. We all have great parts of our life, but we all struggle. We all have mental health issues. It's not something that we should be shied away from or not be able to talk about. We all have these things. We've all been on the edge, and it's been scary for us. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And I'm looking at this camera talking to myself because I don't talk about it. I never have talked about it. I've never asked for help, not even from my own mother, not even from my own, siblings, until recently. I leaned on my sister super heavy this year, the last few months, and she's been my absolute rock, and I love her to death. And she's been an incredible sounding board, and she's been incredible for me with my apparel company Vision, and just so many things, man. And it's just like, okay, that's what that's for. That's what asking for help looks like. Um, but just know you're loved, and there's nothing in life that can't be solved or figured out, no matter what it is. If it's financial, if it's a relationship, if it's whatever it is, everything can be solved. And if you can't solve it, maybe somebody can help you. Somebody can help guide you. But that's it. I wanted to come back and kind of share my mental health struggles last year and why I paused the podcast. Like I said, we got into the holidays and things got crazy. The holidays came and went, and they weren't the most exciting holidays for me. I also turned 41, and this past kind of, I think last year as well, but it kind of like the past 6-ish months. It really, like, I was starting to think more and more about my taking out trees over here, taking thinking more and more about my age, and kind of just like, shit, I'm halfway through my life if you really want to think about that. And I started to kind of get in this little bit of a rut as well. And I'm like, you know what? No, that's crazy. Don't, that's insane. Like, this could be, the 40s could be my the best time of my life. Like, I've only done half of my life. I have a whole nother half to live. I have so much more I want to do, and so much more I'm going to do. And so I had to just twist that mindset of half my life's already over, so I have only done half, and I still have half left. It's going to be incredible. Um, so again, mental health is a fucking serious thing. It's a fucked thing if you let it get too deep. Um, don't let it. Ask for help. Reach out. I'm always on my phone. DM me, text me if you have my phone number. If you don't have my phone number, you don't even know me, shoot me a DM. I don't care. If I don't see it right away, maybe it's hidden in the requests, but I'll find it. Shoot me a DM, either on at fucking everything, FKN everything, or on my personals, Dustin L Folks. Get a hold of me if you need something. Feel free to reach out to me. If you can't, go to a family member or a friend or someone else that can help you. But don't do it alone. Don't fight these battles alone. Mental health is a bitch. We're all in it, and we're all fighting through it. And that's it. That's my story. I am back. I'm fucking excited. Um, More episodes to come. So much more to say. I just wrapped up an incredible month-long tour with one of the most genuine humans I've ever met, and I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I worked for so many people. Can't wait to share all about him. Um, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. Mental health's a bitch. Check in with your friend, check in with your family. Just because they look like they're okay doesn't mean they're doing okay. Treat every single person you meet with kindness. I don't give a shit who they are. If they're a janitor at the school, if they're the Chipotle employee, if they're a gas station person, if they're a flight attendant, if they're a whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. Treat every single person equally. Treat every single person with kindness. You have no clue what battle they're going through in their own personal lives. And this world is fucked up enough that we don't do that. Treat everyone with kindness. I love you all. If you need anything ever, reach out to my DMs. Listen to this podcast on Apple Music, all the streaming platforms. It's on socials. It's on YouTube, Spotify. Check us out at FKN Everything, at fucking everything. Love you all. Peace.